Alright, here is the video review for FansToys STOMP, their version of Sludge, and he is quite, he's pretty awesome. He is a big mamma jamma, as you can see here. He's got dino articulation, his legs move, move his toes a little bit, rotation, all the standard clickety joints in the legs. His tail can wag back and forth a little bit, which is kind of cool. It's got a joint here and a joint here. And his neck can rotate. You can hear it clicky there. Rotate. It can move up and down. This joint can look up and down. It can move up and down at this joint. You saw his mouth can open. That one real wide too. He's got some little guns in there. But yeah, pretty cool little brachiosaur, or brontosaurus, whatever you want to call him. I'm going to call him a brachiosaur because I think that's more scientifically accurate, although I guess they did find out that brontosaurus is a real dinosaur after all. I don't know. Anyway, he's cool. He's Sludge. He's everybody's favorite. Except for me, because I like Snarl, but I like Sludge too. Anyway, he's got an eye swapping gimmick here, so you can see he's got the blue eyes up here in his dino mode. Excuse me. So you pop that off, pull this piece out, and you can, if you want, give him red eyes in dinosaur mode, which look like that. Rah, now he's an evil dinosaur. You can also take this off, take out the eyepiece, and attach probably the greatest accessory known to man ever in the history of third-party robots. You can give him his googly eyes from when Devastator smushed him in Transformers the movie. It's literally like 1, maybe 2 frames of the movie. But there it is. You can give him googly eyes if you wish. You can see it fills in the normal eye place with the chromed gold and pops his eyeballs out of his head. That is like the one accessory. Like, you really don't need it. You don't need it, but don't lie. I mean, that's kind of awesome. So anyway, you can give him his great poppily googly out eyes. I'm going to put his blue eyes back in because I do think I prefer the blue eyes. It's a nice bluey teal color. And like I said, I think the blue eyes pop a little bit more in the head than the red do. But yeah, there he is. Now to transform him, and this is trying to get this guy, he's going to kind of unfold and be much larger in robot mode. So I'm going to try to get all of this on camera as well as I can. If I'm off a little bit, I will be checking and readjusting as needed. So if I get a little off, give me a second. I'll try to get it all on tape for you. Now the first thing you want to do is right here. These little things pop up. And it took me a while to figure out what these were for. But you lift these up. There's actually a couple little tabs on these panels that lock the tail in place that you can just fold up for robot mode. I thought that was kind of cool to specifically lock that tail joint, because it clips in. You can see it clips in, and it's not going to come loose very easily, but you could conceivably pop the tail loose, so it has these little flip-out tabs here that lock into the tail. So I go ahead and pop the tail loose here, and then split the tail, and then go ahead and split his whole back here to get his legs out. Now you see these little buttons back here. These will pop. These are kind of springy right now. As you bring the hips up, those will lock into place. They'll pop out, and that locks the hips into place. So it fixes any sagginess on the part of the hips when you're going into. So when you pick him up, his hips don't sag. Very genius. That's a nice little addition, and I'll show you how those function when we get all this stuff out of the way and we pull the hips up into their proper position. You can see the thigh extend, so you want to collapse the thighs back up. Can. There you go. On each side. There we go. And then down here on the legs, and there's some neat stuff going on here with the legs as well. This, the tail folds up like this. And this piece right here, the hinges for the tail are what form the bottom of the foot. So make sure those go down here. Fold the tail up, and it folds in half right there, and then this collapses up into here, and then the whole thing kind of folds up and sits right there in the leg. Now the legs themselves, they actually open way down here. You kind of got to bend the leg down to find it, because they open up like that. So also when you're transforming back to dyno mode, make sure to fold his foot all the way down so you have the clearance to put this piece back in place. But you fold that in, fold up his toes. You need to fold up the middle one first. Fold up his toes, and then you fold his whole dyno leg up into here, and then collapse that down. And then this piece comes up like this, and there's a panel here that opens up, and this whole assembly, you kind of lift it up a little bit. You can see there's a couple of ridges here that hold it in place, and then this whole inside collapses in, and then this collapses back up around it. And the whole leg locks together like that. So the legs do kind of fold up and collapse inside. They don't go all the way in. You still see a little bit of the leg sticking out, but I love the way they all fold up and collapse. All right, and we do the same for the other leg. Apologies for the interruption there. Lift this up. And again, you can do it after you fold the tail up. I'm going to do this leg first because I think it's a little easier to get this in before you flip the tail up. So again, open that up. Fold the dinosaur leg in. Apologies, like I said, I don't have a whole lot of depth here, and this guy's big, so I'm trying to focus on each part as I do it. So you open that up, then you open up this panel on the back of the leg, and that was really, let me lock the white balance here. There we go. So yeah, you can see there's like a little ridge here that holds it out in dinosaur mode, and there's the hinge down here for the mechanism. But you just kind of lift it up over that hinge, and collapse that in like that, and then collapse the panel back up around it, and then you can bring the tail in just like before. Fold that down. So I guess you kind of want to come around this way, because if the leg's already in, you can't fold this down. Fold the tail in half like that, and then just lock everything into place just like that, and then collapse that knee joint. And we'll get to, I'll show you those hip locking mechanisms in just a second. So these panels open up and fold down like this, which allows you to open up these This point kind of all comes together. You want to go ahead and pop his, actually you gotta open these first, because there's a couple little ridges here that lock into his dyno head. So you gotta open these up a little bit, pull his dyno head out, and get his dyno head flipped down out of the way. And that allows you to lift the shoulders up here. You can use those as shoulder articulation in robot mode, but also for transformation. Lift these up, and that gives you the clearance to open up these panels. And these panels kind of fold up against it like that. And you can see now this hip has come all the way up and popped this mechanism, which locks the hip in place. When I lift this one up too, you should see this one pop up as well. And you can't push those in all the way. You kind of have, at first, when you're transforming it back, you kind of have to lift the hip up a little bit, and that will allow you to push that all the way in, and that unlocks the hip to fold down. And then when you fold it back up, it pops out, and it locks that hip into place. So the hips aren't going to sag, which is really nice. But just remember, like I said, once you've got it, when you've got it in robot mode and it's locked, take the hip, kind of push it all the way up flat against his body, and that will let you push that button all the way in to unlock it. But they do automatically lock as you lift them up. So we'll go ahead and turn his waist around here, and then we'll focus up on the upper half of his body. Get him standing properly here. So we'll come up here. Maybe see if we can't lighten that up. There we go. So again, once you got these folded back around, you can fold his arms back down. And again, that gives him some shoulder articulation, but that joint there is mostly for the transformation to get, so you can open these side panels out. Rotate his legs around there at the bicep. And then you open up this panel right here, and his head flips up, and it brings the whole chest assembly with it. You kind of pull it forward and up, and you can see that brings the whole interior panel up, and just lock that into place. Close that up, and once you've done that, that opens up this whole backpack space to fold his head up into, just like that. So this just folds up onto his back like that. And then you can just leave these up here, lift up his shoulder panels. You can rotate those back a little bit if you wish, however you want to display them. And then his hands, and this is kind of cool on his hands too, to get his hands out, he's got some articulation at the ankle in his dino foot there, you can see. And then to flip his hands out, you split these two pieces, open this up, flip his hand out through the, in between there, close that panel, and then close, you can see one pegs into the other, close up his dino claw. Then open that up. I guess you could have it either way. If you want to have one claw up in front of his arm, you can rotate his fist around like that, and rotate his fist around like that. It all depends on how whether you prefer two toes or one toe up on his forearm. They work either way. And he's got the articulated fingers. And we'll do the same thing on this side. Open this up, open up this panel, get his fist out, and then close that back up. Rotate his fist around, and open up his hand and pose it however you wish. But there he is now in robot mode. He comes with two weapons. I don't have the batteries for him, but the light up gun, light up sword. And the sword, the wire goes toward his body because of this handle is slightly off, the little tab is slightly offset on the handle. But it fits, it doesn't get in the way or conflict with anything, so you can have them hold it like that. They can still swivel around those toes and everything. And the gun, of course, can go in his hand as well. I'll let you do what kind of want to pull a mercenary on this and make sure that finger is kind of in there before you try to tap it into his hand. So yeah, there's his weapons, there's his robot mode. It's very cool. He does come with a couple other accessories here, and that is two faces, or two extra faces. He's got one on him, and he's got two extra ones here. One kind of a neutral face, and one kind of an angry yelling face. And to swap those out, you just pop off this little headpiece here. And you can see there's the peg. You just open up the, just slide the face out. It should just pop right out. Granted, like I'm doing this at arm's length, so it's not coming out easily. Maybe look up. And he's also, there we go. Oh, come on. Don't do, there we go. Pop his head out. And again, he's got a couple little pieces here. You can give him red eyes. Or, yeah, you can take out the little blue eye piece. He comes with a red eye piece. So if you want to give his angry face red eyes, you just pop either the blue or red eye piece into the head. Plug the face back on. And then plug his head crest back on top of that. And now you've got an angry, red-eyed, yelling sludge. There. So it's kind of cool. Very, very big. And like I said, really nice. They did a really good job on him. I love his dinosaur mode. I love his robot mode. Some nice painted details here underneath the clear plastic on his legs. He also comes with these pieces, which I believe are to their snarl, or maybe their slag. I'm 100% not sure. But he does come with some extra pieces for one of the previous Dinobots. I believe it might be snarl. It's snarl or slag. It's obviously not swoop. But I think I guess this. I think it may be their snarl. I think this is a piece to cover up the gap in dinosaur mode. So you can add those on. I don't have them with me, unfortunately, or I'd screw those on and show you. I do have, again, because of all the stuff I brought in with me today, I didn't have a lot to bring in extra stuff. So, like, size comparison, here he is with Gigapower's Gutter. I meant to grab their version of, was it Sever was there? Snarl? But just to give you an idea, he's very large. Here he is with some more common figures. Here he is with the Robots in Disguise Grimlock mold. Tables have turned there in size class, huh? Here he is with Voyager Brainstorm. I'm trying to think of what else I've got here that would be a good comparison. Here he is with Generations Megatron. And here he is with, let's see, we'll do DX9's Terror here. So he's a big mamma jamma. Very heavy, very nice. Very well built. Like I said, a lot of neat little things, like the way the claws open for his hands. I like the hip locks. You can see, like, now his hips don't sag because they're locked. They sag a little bit against the lock, but they're not going to fall down and droop. That hip lock is really pretty ingenious. I like the way the tail folds up and the way these legs collapse into the legs without going all the way in. I like the mechanism for bringing his head up so the whole dinosaur head can hide up inside of his backpack. Just a lot of really neat design choices on him that work. I think some of the earlier robots had some really ambitious ideas that weren't 100% cooked, I guess. And I feel like they've definitely been learning as they built these things. I think he's a really solid, really well put together piece. And like I said, a lot of neat ideas that just work the way they're supposed to. And that's always a huge bonus. Definitely one for the collection. Like I said, Snarl's my favorite Dinobot. I think Sludge is right behind him. And I think part of that's just because those two are the ones that always don't seem to get some love when they only get 3 Dinobots. So it's good to see them getting represented here in the toys. But yeah, there is FansToys Stomp. Very cool. Like I said, best accessory ever. Like I said, if you're collecting MP Dinobots, definitely worth it. Also, real quick, I just realized that I did not do a full articulation video, or part of the video. So he's got his neck kind of pivots. He can swivel side to side. It's not a ball joint, but he can look side to side. He does have a little bit of neck pivot. The panel his head is attached to swivels up and down, which is nice. You've got that extra shoulder articulation due to the transformation, as well as a hinge there at the shoulder, front and back. Okay, he dropped his gun. Bicep swivel, a hinge swivel, or elbow joint. He's got wrist swivel. He's got the individually articulated fingers, which is nice. Waist swivel, in and out thigh, front to back thigh ratchets. He has kind of a side-to-side knee there, as well as a standard knee. His foot does have a little bit of articulation in it. You can see it's got some ankle tilt. It doesn't move front to back so much because of the design of it, but he can ankle tilt as well. So, not as, being bigger, he needs to have more locking points, but you can get him in a wide variety of poses. You've got a pretty decent range of articulation on what they've given him here. So yeah, there we go. Now I'll wrap it up. Good job, FansToys. Very solid figure. Very nice sludge design. Some really good ideas baked into it this time.